Welcome to FEO On The Air, the voice of the festivals and events industry in Ontario. Please welcome our CEO and your host, Dave McNeil.
Hello and welcome to FEO On The Air. Today we're going to talk about the Revelree Music Festival happening July 21st and 22nd at Canatara Park in Sarnia. And with us we've got Scott Palko, the festival director. Welcome, Scott.
Yeah, good to be here. Thank you.
So can you tell everybody a little bit about the Revelree Festival and what it is and how long you've been going on?
For sure, yeah. So the Revelree Music Festival takes place in Canatara Park in Sarnia, Ontario. Our first festival was last year, and it was a great show. We were lucky. It's a two-night event. Last year we had great acts, Death from Above, Blue Rodeo, Big Wreck, just lots of great acts. And this year it's happening July 21st, 22nd in Canatara. And we've got another great 2 evenings lined up. Friday's headlined by Arkells with Lights and Ace and Nobby, who's been a great up-and-coming artist. And Saturday's headlining with Glory Sons, Tom Cochran, and JJ Wild. And then we've got some local and regional our emerging artists that play earlier in the both days as well. So yeah, it's really just a focus on live entertainment. Revelree's purpose is to celebrate live entertainment, and we try to do that both in giving emerging artists an opportunity to play in front of crowds maybe they otherwise wouldn't have the chance to do so, but also to put some incredible large-scale acts on the stage over 2 nights.
Yeah, and you've got a great lineup both nights. So what else is happening on site? Like, do you have a food fair? What else can people expect there?
Yeah, fortunately, we have sort of Mother Nature's experiential marketing, which is the beach, which we're right next to. So we encourage people to come down. The park is absolutely beautiful. So we're situated right in the middle of the park. And so the park's open to the public. I mean, come down, enjoy the beach. If you're a concert goer, come down, take a dip in the lake, and then come in and check out some of the opening acts. But yeah, we've got food vendors on site. We're with partners with Labatt, so they've got some yard games and bago and just stuff to be able to have a drink, and both alcoholic, non-alcoholic, but just to enjoy a good summer afternoon and good day. So there's plenty to do with the acts on stage and even in between during changeovers and everything. So we really want to encourage people. It's all ages, so we want to encourage people to come down and enjoy the afternoon.
And Scott, happening July 21st and 22nd, are there still tickets available?
There are tickets available, absolutely. Tickets are available on revelreemusicfestival.com or revelree.ca, one or the other. Full information is available. We sold out of our Saturday night VIP, but otherwise, general admission tickets, Friday VIP, there's plenty of tickets available, so we encourage people to snatch them up before they're gone.
And let's look back a little bit. Last year was your first festival, and you're in the post-COVID era, so you may not have that reference going back, and maybe you do with some of your other associations. But how did you find your volunteer base and the people getting back in that live environment?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's something that we've certainly, I guess I'll frame it this way. I think we're finding that the comfort level and sort of that participation has been much larger this year. I think just last year, I think it was just, people coming out of 2 years of lockdowns and just not being around other people and whatnot, that I think the challenge was, what does that environment look like? Will there be certain safety protocols? There was all these questions about what does a large scale live entertainment event, how does that happen? What's the operational process? So it was a challenge for sure. And we're not the only ones. I know, certainly any live entertainment festivals, anyone across Canada, I'm sure North America, the world, experience the same thing. So I think, honestly, we were still overwhelmed by the amount of people that were still willing to help and did help. And so you can't do an event like this without incredible support from your volunteer base or, your crew and your team and everyone else. But we are, I think, noticing both ticket sales, volunteer, everyone, I think, is now sort of, it almost took a year to say, hey, we're really okay with this thing being over and we're ready to be back in action and kind of let's get at it, because it's been very overwhelming this year, the support and the willingness of people to be out helping. So it's been great.
And how about your supplier base? Not having known that pre-COVID pricing and stuff like that, how are you finding the suppliers to work with? Have you found increased costs there, or what? For people that are still in those planning stages, what are some things they should be looking out for and expecting, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely there's challenges. as I'm sure anyone else who, manages an event like this or any event will tell you, like it's all in the details, right? Really the success, specifically financial, ultimately I think comes down to, are you paying attention to all of those small transactions that happen right from booking all the way through till festival weekend, right? And it's kind of mining those P's and Q's that can eventually add up to a significant difference on your bottom line. So we've definitely noticed an increase, just inflation, post-COVID costs. I mean, we did some smaller shows pre-COVID, and no question, it's gone up. It's any balancing act, I think, for an event like this is where you make that money up, right? I mean, you do your best to try to add value as far as ticket sales go. So you don't just want to pass along, an immediate 20% increase to your attendees, or whatever that number may be. So it's definitely gone up, and we do our best to engage. We're trying to find more sponsors as we grow. We're trying to find ways to kind of offset some of those extra expenses, to do our best to keep the value high. Like, we want to give people 12 bands over 2 days, and be able to give that for a ticket price that is manageable, and that they say, hey, this is good value. So you got to get a bit creative, but definitely it's a challenge right now with some of those costs having gone up, and everything from suppliers to insurance to you name it. There's an increase across the board, unfortunately.
And what other revenue streams do you guys have, Scott? I mean, you've obviously got your ticket sales, you've got your food and beverage. What else do you count on to make the festival happen?
So we are so definitely tickets, alcohol, beverage, as you said. We have our own line of merchandise, anything we can sell, festival t-shirts, that type of thing. Sponsorship certainly helps with us. We've got some great sponsors that were on board last year and have kind of came on board even more so this year. So that's a big win for us. There are lots of grant opportunities out there for festivals, and people are, trying to find additional revenue streams. We try not, you like the granting process, but you try not to rely on it too heavily, because eventually, we're in year 2. We assume by year 3 or 4, we need to be self-sustaining. That's our intent and that's our hope. Revelree itself is actually a digital ticketing platform. So for us, selling those tickets and working with venues and some of that revenue also helps fund the festival. So we're fortunate to have that additional income stream as we grow that part of the business. So, but in terms of the festival itself, it's, anything we can do to find, whether it's selling wristbands or koozies or, anything that can help offset some of those cost increase in particular is a huge help.
And have you applied for the Reconnect grant from Ontario, or?
Yes.
So,
yes,
I mean, you're one of the unfortunate ones that are stuck with an event coming up and there's still been no announcements. Frustrating, I'm sure. And I know a lot of that stuff is there's a commitment on behalf of the festivals to do a certain amount, but when you don't know that match is there from the government, it's got to be tough.
It is tough. I know, last year we actually applied for the Reconnect, and we put on the first year, and I think the festival ended Sunday, and it was Monday afternoon. I was in the park cleaning up and got the call that we had been successful, but you didn't know. So we were very grateful for the support. And this year, same thing. We're doing our best. We're hopeful that we're, an event that is, deserving of some funding that we can help, generating tourism dollars, and as all events do. But you sort of wish you kind of knew what that answer was going in, so.
So we're certainly on behalf of everybody, we're working with the ministry to have them recognize the trouble this is causing everybody, and try to get it back on apply in November and here by the end of February, March, so that people can actually plan and execute properly. So, I'm happy to hear that you're trying to make it self-sufficient without the granting model, because I think too many people do count on those grants to operate. And you're right, sooner or later we run into instances like we are now, and the pool has shrunken again, the money pool, and the applications have almost doubled. So we know they're in a tough spot, but it's got to get back on the track that people can plan and execute properly.
For sure. And I would encourage, I know for us, even year 1, that money was critical, especially coming out of COVID. We're a border town. in Sarnia, so we didn't have access to the American audience coming over. So there's a lot of factors there, and that grant, we probably would have done it this year, but I can tell you once we had access to that money, it guaranteed, yep, year 2, let's keep going. And personally, I think that money is great in the first, like I said, 2 or 3 years of a festival or an event growing. And then I think there's a lot of other opportunities, hopefully new festivals, hopefully there's new people entering the space in whatever manifestation that is, but that it's generating tourism. But those are, for my 2 cents, those are the events like we were last year that really need those funds. So if we can get to the point where we're sustainable, hopefully that's one less application, and that opens up some funding for some other events that can then enter the space and then themselves build it up to be self-sustaining over a few years.
So you're in a unique opportunity, like you said, you being a border town. What percentage of your fan base comes from the States?
It's a great question, because we're just sort of getting, I think, true analytics now, just because last year was so skewed. Right now, our ticket sales, we're probably, I want to say about 15% is coming from international. So, and the bulk of that would be that Michigan area into Ohio. So that's roughly where we're at, which is great. I mean, considering we didn't have access to that 15% last year. So it does make a big difference for us right now, but we'll continue to grow that as the years go, hopefully.
And what are your main streams you're using for your marketing? Are you basically a social platform? Are you doing some digital marketing? Are you doing some traditional over-the-air radio, TV, print?
A little bit all the above. Our team, we're fortunate, our background is in digital, so very heavy digital marketing, very targeted towards fan bases of the bands that we're bringing in, festival goers, both locally and regionally. Definitely working with the radio stations. Ironically, one of the things that we hold very dear to our hearts is sort of our ambassador program, where we work with local accommodations, restaurants, anyone in hospitality, and we sort of do our best to get boots on the ground, sort of within, I would say, maybe a 75 to 100 kilometer radius of us. And we engage with them one-on-one, and we say, here, let's do some contests, let's do some tickets, here's table tents, posters, those things that I know are seemingly archaic in some ways, but the amount of feedback that we received last year and this year for the benefit of both ticket buyers, but also those establishments being able to generate some extra income the week and weekend of the festival, that's a great marketing tool for us.
And you brought up a good point, is working with the actual bands and their fan base. I think a lot of people miss that opportunity. Like, for example, if you're working with the Arkells, I'm sure they're happy to self-promote on their sites that they're going to be in Sarnia on July 21st and 22nd. And I mean, like you said, there's a following of a lot of these bands that'll drive the 2 or 3 hours into the different cities to see them.
It's funny. We were fortunate enough to go see Arkell's show at Scotiabank Arena in I think it was the end of November, after we had booked them. And I want to say it was sold out. I think it was 15,000 people or whatever it was. And 2/3 of them had to have been from Hamilton, which I know is a much closer drive than Sarnia. But being that we are, Arkell's they're doing a couple winery gigs this weekend, but otherwise they play Ottawa. We're the only Southwestern Ontario festival. And so, yeah, it's critical to go to their fan base to say, if you don't want to drive to Ottawa, or you don't, come, we're happy to have you come, see your favorite band, see the hometown band. So it's been they've been great about promoting it on their channels, as you mentioned. And it's an important part of us to kind of talk to the people who we know are already engaged. So if we can get in front of them, hopefully they'll make the trip down to Sarnia and have a chance to see their band in a pretty cool venue. So, and
if people want to come into Sarnia for the 2 days, have you got hotel partners, camping partnerships tied up? Like what can people look for there?
Yeah, we've got a partnership with Sunbridge Hotel, which is actually just being about to change over to a Sheraton 4 Points. But there's Ramada and Holiday Inn Express, and there's your best, there's a hotel row there. There's it's all probably a 4 or 5 minute drive from the park, so it's very convenient. There's the Legacy Hotel, which is downtown, And so there's lots of partners we've got. There's space available, I know. But yeah, there's lots of opportunity, and that's a huge focus for us, is how do we get people to come in, spend the night, enjoy Sarnia, especially in the summer. I mean, Sarnia is a great place to be. And so there's lots of places on our website and opportunities for people to come on, check us out, and book something to stay the night.
And when you're setting up your 2 nights, do you is it one night sort of a progressive, newer, and then the older night like a rocker, or how have you broken up the programming? Or is it a little bit of both?
It's funny. We sort of, probably give ourselves a week after the festival, probably a couple weeks after the festival, we sort of sit down with a whiteboard and say, okay, knowing what we know, let's blue sky it. Who could we bring in for next year? I know we tend to we actually encourage our team to think of ideas that are not genre specific. I love the idea of, hey, there's a band I really want to go see because I like them. I am kind of familiar with the band playing before or after them, but I'll go check them out, and maybe all of a sudden that band has an opportunity to create a new fan, right? So yeah, we've leaned pretty heavy into like rock folk the first couple years, but I think moving forward and what we've tried to do is, if we have a rock artist and a country artist, one after the other, or we have, we just want to put great acts on stage. So this year, I can tell you, we were incredibly fortunate when we did do our whiteboard session. The lineup you see is 98% what we had set out for. So we just got very, very lucky this year for that to happen. But moving forward in subsequent years, let's find some great acts. Let's put them on stage, and whatever genre they end up being, hopefully there's some cohesion, but we're not bound to one or the other for a certain night.
And looking at the lineup, are you 100% Canadian, or?
Yes, we are this year. Yep, for sure.
And is that a first for you guys? I applaud you on that. And I think more, Ontario-based festivals should be highlighting Canadian talent, because there is an abundance of it out there.
Absolutely. And, so we were of the 26 bands in the 2 years, 25 have been Canadian. We had Red Wanting Blue out of Ohio last year come play in the afternoon. And so otherwise everyone else has been Canadian, and you're right. That's a huge focal point. And not just, I realize that programming can be dictated by grants and those things, but there's so much great Canadian talent that we're very happy to put it on our stage and showcase it. So we're going to continue that trend.
Well, it's been great talking to you, Scott. A last chance for self-promotion. If you can give everybody your dates again, maybe go through your lineups and where they can get more information.
Absolutely. So it's the Revelree Music Festival happening July 21st, 22nd, Sarnia, Ontario, in Canatara Park. We've got each night, we've got 3 lineups, or 3 local regional artists. I know on the Friday, we've got Little White Lies, followed by Gypsy Flats, Living Room from Small, some great bands. And then Ace and Obby is an upcoming, just crushing it artist. So go check him out on Spotify. He's unbelievable. And then Lights, who's been known around the world. And then Arkells, who are just one of the biggest bands out there. That's our Friday. And then our Saturday, we are kicking things off with Brothers Wild, who's local. They're amazing. Courtney Wolf out of Kitchener. Born Riot is a great rock band. And then JJ Wild is going to take the stage before Tom Cochran's a Canadian legend. And then Glorious Sons are taking the stage Saturday night. So all Canadian lineup, fantastic. It's an all ages show. We encourage people to come out, enjoy hopefully what we hope will be beautiful weather, and really see some great emerging artists, and then see some of the best talent that Canada has to offer. Tickets are available. Revelree Music Festival. It's Revelree with 2 E's. musicfestival.com. All the information's there, and we look forward to seeing people. And I really appreciate the time today, Dave.
Thank you very much, Scott, and all the best from all of us here at FEO. It sounds like you guys have got a solid foundation to continue to grow on, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you for joining us. If you've got a festival you'd like to highlight on FEO On The Air, please get in touch with the office, and we'd be happy to help you out. I'm Dave McNeil. You've been listening to FEO On The Air.
Thanks for listening to FEO On The Air, the voice of festivals and events in Ontario.